Welcome back to the 12 Days of Christmas. Today is going to be brought to you by Rich Henderson, whose gift for you is about product selection. Rich, take it away.
Yeah, thanks Jason, and happy holidays to all of you watching this video. I hope you have an awesome Christmas and a very profitable new year. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about different product selection methods you can use, but the first thing I want to very quickly cover is what the normal process is when you're selecting your first product. In other words, when you've got no experience whatsoever of choosing products. So for the most part, the most generally accepted method is to use exact criteria to enable you to choose your first product. This normally is a BSR range between 500 and 5,000. BSR, if you don't know, is Amazon's way of ranking their products, and you can find the BSR of any product on the product listing. Normally a weight of 3 pounds or less, because the lighter it is, the cheaper it's going to be for shipping. And lastly, a price range of between $18 and $70. Now there are some other criteria like reviews and specific categories to choose from, but I'm not going to go into that right now. So we're going to look at moving away from the crowd. In other words, moving away from the generally accepted way of selecting products. Now the first product method works, and works like gangbusters. And it's a fantastic way of getting your first product up. And getting your first product up provides invaluable experience with the whole process of selling on Amazon. And this invaluable experience enables you with subsequent products to stretch the boundaries a little, so to move away from the generally accepted criteria. However, if you have not launched or even found your first product yet, we have got you covered. So if you're not already running an Amazon business and want to know how to find profitable products from scratch, then I have an entire course covering how to find profitable products inside the Amazing membership. This course has just been updated to cover recent changes at Amazon too. All you need to do is just log in to amazing.com and use the search bar for my name, Rich Henderson, or for the course Amazon Product Selection Blueprint. But let's get back to selecting products. So, criteria you can break. So first of all, the price. You can go higher. You just have to bear in mind that if you do go higher, then your inventory costs are going to be lower. But what you will find is that if you go beyond the $70 to $100 or maybe even more, that generally speaking, products like that will have a lower MOQ. In other words, you'll be able to get lower amounts from your supplier. Weight. Again, this is something you can stretch and is probably the easiest way of stretching or breaking the criteria to enable you to move outside of the norm. And I'm going to show you a couple of specific examples of the weight criteria. And lastly, competition. Once you've got your first product up and you're used to how everything works, and most importantly, you're going to have an existing customer list, then you can go for products that are more competitive. In other words, lower number BSR than 500. But let's take a quick look at a couple of products that break the weight criteria. So this first product, the Dream Genius Makeup Organizer. Now it's difficult to tell, but it is a pretty big product. And you can see it gives the dimensions. But if I scroll down even further, you can see the weight's saying about 5 pounds, which obviously is well above our 3 pound limit. Now I'm going to show you one more example, and then I'm going to show you the actual stats for both of these examples. So the next one is actually this plate set. I guess it's for dinner parties and things like that. You can see it's got a base with 3 separate plates for serving appetizers or hors d'oeuvres or something like that. So those are 2 examples, but why would we want to actually stretch this criteria and go for something heavier? Well, let's take a look at what these 2 products actually make in revenue terms. So with the Makeup Organizer, these results are for very similar products to the one I showed you. In other words, they have the same makeup, excuse the pun, but they're made of acrylic, they're drawers, they're a stack system, and as you can see, they range in price between $28 and $32. And that's the first column. The second column is actually their BSR rank, and you can see it goes from 557 all the way up to 3548. So they're all still viable. But if we jump to the last column quickly, you can see those are the weights. So those kind of weights are going to put the majority of Amazon sellers completely off selling this product because they're just going to assume it's too heavy and the costs are going to be too high. But that is not always the case. If we look at the revenue generated for these 5 products, you can see it ranges from a bottom of $31,000 a month, which is a serious amount of revenue, all the way up to $145,000. But if you look at the reviews, they're not too scary. There's one at 500, the rest are around 200 or below. And in fact, if you look at the second ranked product, it's only got 15 reviews and it's making $66,000. And the reason for that, more often than not, is because there's not as many competitors. So going for this product would mean that you're going to be able to compete much easier because you're going to need less reviews, But also, as you can see, there is significant amounts of revenue to be found. Now, this is just an example I pulled up on Amazon. I haven't searched suppliers. I haven't established how much it costs. It's just an example. So with a product like this, you would have to go ahead, contact suppliers, find out how much it's going to cost for the product itself, and also, just as importantly, in fact, more importantly, how much it's going to cost to ship. For the most part, products like this are going to come from China, so you have to establish what that cost is going to be. But as I said, it's just an example. There are tons and tons of these kinds of products that no one else is going for because other people are either sticking to the training they've received and are sticking to lighter items, or they just assume that at these kind of weights, it's going to be too much. But let's look at the next one. So the next one was the serving platters. Again, you can see the price ranges are ranging from $21 up to $34. And for the BSR, you can see that we've got 3 products inside the BSR range and some outside it. But 3 is plenty enough. And then if we look at the revenues again, you can see, look, $84,000, $19,000, $18,000. But look at the reviews of those first 3 products, 54, 87, and 59. Ridiculously low number of reviews. So if you were to go and source this product and launch it, you would find it very, very easy to rank alongside these products, if not above them. And again, the last column, the weight, you can see the lightest one is 7 pounds and it goes up. And it's exactly the same principle as the last one. People are either sticking to the criteria they know that works, or they're just assuming that these products are too heavy for them to deal with. So that's how you stretch criteria. Now, the next thing I'm quickly going to show you is reverse engineering. So normally you find your product using specific criteria. In other words, you have the criteria and you use that to go and search for products. How about we find a product, then check the criteria? Well, the problem is, how can we find a product without criteria? Well, it's actually a lot easier than you think, and it is kind of reverse engineering. And the first one's to use an existing supplier catalog. It's the easiest way to expand your product inventory or brand. All you need to do is ask your current supplier for their entire catalog of products. Now, you might need to do a little bit of persuasion to enable you to do this, but at the end of the day, they want you to sell their products. So be persistent and they will give you access to their complete catalog. Now, if you haven't already got a product, then ask a supplier who's been ultra responsive. In other words, if you've started searching for products and you're speaking to suppliers, if out of all those suppliers, one is really fast at responding to you, their English is fantastic, they seem very proactive, then again, you could say to them, I was interested in that particular product, but can you let me have your entire catalog so I can go and have a look? And lastly, ask a supplier who you've contacted who sent high quality samples, but it just might not have been the right product for you. Again, if they produce high quality samples, the odds are they're going to produce high quality products. Now, obviously the last 2 are if you haven't already got a product, but it's simple. All you need to do then is you take the catalog, you start looking through it, you take the product, you go to Amazon, you search Amazon for that product and see what's there. And the beauty of this is you know that your supplier is going to be good. Just about the most important aspect of a physical products business, especially on Amazon, is having a great supplier. And once you've found one, use them to the utmost. Use all their products, or as many that actually look as though they're viable on Amazon. So there's another way of doing it too, and that's Alibaba. Alibaba is basically a site that lists thousands upon thousands of suppliers, mostly in Asia, but also you'll find some in America and Europe and other places. And again, this is about finding existing Amazon products. But can we do this without actually using Amazon? So we saw one example, which is actually to use our supplier, but we can also do this with Alibaba. So go to Alibaba.com, and I'm actually going to show you exactly what I mean, but you're going to use the search Amazon. So here we are at Alibaba, and you'll see the big search bar at the top. You want to leave products alone. If you click on it, there are other things you can go for, but we're looking for products. And then just type in Amazon and hit search. And what this is going to show you is suppliers that are savvy enough to know that their products are already being sold on Amazon and have put Amazon in the title of their product so they show up. And you can see here, we've got 211,000 products to look at. Now, a lot of these are going to be saturated products. There's going to be way too much competition for them. For instance, the third one, the spiralizer, under no circumstances try and source and sell a spiralizer. You're going to struggle to even sell one because there's so much competition for them on Amazon. But basically, you just start scrolling down. You know these products are selling on Amazon, so the odds are they're viable, but you're still going to go ahead and check their viability. I'm just scrolling down. You can see all kinds of things. This one's quite interesting. Most popular leather wine box. They're telling you most popular, so you know it's selling well. Another popular product right now is ice cube stones. Basically what these are, it's an ice cube mold and you can have a logo put in there. You can have anything you want put on them, and then you can sell those. I'm going to keep going. And as you can see, there are just tons of different examples. Look at this one. It's a high-end Whiskey Stones. It comes in a lovely pine box. This one, I'm going to guess, might be quite heavy because it's a box, so it might apply to the size criteria we mentioned earlier. It's just a really super fast way of finding products that are already selling on Amazon. Now, you're going to see a lot of the same products over and over again, but patience, keep scrolling through, keep looking at them all, and then if you see something you like the look of, then take that product, go to Amazon and see how many people are selling it, see what kind of BSR it's got, and it's just a super quick way of finding products and then seeing if they're viable rather than using criteria that prove they're viable to find the products. So that's just another example of a different way you can search for products. So by implementing any or all of these tips, you're going to find products you can sell on Amazon that are not as mainstream as other products you might find if you use criteria first options. But they're still incredibly profitable. Just remember, if you're going for heavier products or larger products, make sure you check exactly how much it's going to cost you to have those products shipped to the US to make sure your profit margin's still viable. So I hope you enjoy these tips, and back to you, Santa.
Thank you, Rich, for that great strategy. You can check out Rich's other training in the Amazing.com membership, along with hundreds of other proven Amazon seller training courses. On top of that, you will also get access to our 3 exclusive, never shared before bonuses that are designed to help you launch, grow, and scale your business on Amazon. Bonus 1, our private label path. This checklist will help anyone leverage Amazing.com who is looking to get started with a new business on Amazon. Bonus 2, our Amazon Traffic Bootcamp, brought to you by myself and Shane Oglow. This is a 3-month series starting in January 2018, where each month we'll cover a specific strategy we're using in our own businesses to increase traffic and sales. You as an Amazing.com member will get this for free instead of the $297 non-members will need to pay. Bonus number 3, international expansion from start to finish by Brandon Slater. This 3-hour training workshop will teach you everything you need to know to start selling on Amazon's international platform. Amazing.com members will get this for free, and non-members will have to pay $197. You can get all 3 of these bonuses for only $1 as long as you sign up before December 24th. So make sure to take advantage of this amazing offer before that date. There's no long-term commitment, so you can cancel at any time. Have a happy holidays and stay tuned for tomorrow's gift, focusing on helping you with product sourcing from Mike McClary. Have an amazing day.